The stars were quiet that night. A lonely human traveler sat near the small fire he had built on the edge of a forgotten planet. His ship was broken, half buried in the sand, and he had no idea how long it would take to repair it. The desert winds whispered, carrying voices that were not there. He had been alone for many weeks. No humans, no friends, only the stars above him, cold and silent. But that night something strange happened. The traveler felt a presence behind him. Slowly he turned his head. There in the dim light of his fire stood a small figure. It was a girl, not a human girl, but an alien child. Her eyes were big and shining, glowing with soft blue light. Her skin was pale, almost silver under the moonlight, and she wore a dress made of thin, glowing threads. She looked fragile, but her voice carried something that shook the human's heart. The little girl looked at him, then stepped closer. She held his hand with her small, cold fingers. Her voice trembled as she spoke in broken human words. "Please, my mom is so lonely. Can you be my dad?" "At her birthday party?" The traveler froze. For a moment he thought he was dreaming. He stared at the child, confused, unable to understand. Why would an alien girl ask him something like this? What did she mean? The girl's eyes filled with tears. She tugged his hand gently like a lost child begging for help. "My mom, she waits. She is alone. You come, please, only for birthday." The traveler's heart began to race. Something about the way she said those words made him feel uneasy. This was not just a child's wish. There was something hidden behind it. He pulled his hand back, unsure. "Why me? I'm a stranger. I don't belong here." But the little girl shook her head quickly, almost desperate. "You are human, strong, kind, different. She needs you. I need you." The words echoed inside his mind. The traveler looked at the dark horizon. The wind blew across the empty desert. There was nothing waiting for him here. His ship was broken. His supplies were low. He had nowhere to go, and yet, the request of this small alien girl felt heavier than all his troubles. He sighed and stood up. "All right, I'll come, but just for the party. Nothing more." The girl's face lit up with joy. She grabbed his hand again and began to pull him toward the shadows beyond the fire. Her tiny feet moved quickly across the sand. The traveler followed, though his steps were slow and careful. The night grew colder as they walked. Strange glowing plants rose from the ground, lighting their path with soft green light. The air smelled of flowers, but also of something old, something forgotten. The girl hummed a soft tune as she walked. It was a sad melody, full of longing. The traveler kept looking around. His instincts told him he was not safe. He felt eyes watching him from the darkness. Shapes moved between the rocks, too quick to see clearly. Finally, they reached a ruined gate. Stone pillars stood broken, covered in glowing vines. Beyond the gate, a forgotten city spread across the valley. The buildings were tall but broken, shining faintly under the alien moon. The traveler stopped. His heart thudded in his chest. This was no simple home. This was once a kingdom. The little girl pointed toward the tallest building at the center. Her small voice whispered, "She waits." There. The traveler swallowed hard. He had come too far to turn back now. He followed the girl into the city. Every step echoed. The streets were empty, but he could feel shadows watching him from windows and broken towers. Finally, they reached a wide stone hall. The doors were open and a soft blue light spilled out. The girl let go of his hand and ran ahead. "Mom, I bring him." The traveler froze at the entrance. His breath caught in his throat. Inside the hall, standing tall and silent, was a figure. A woman. Her form was slender, almost human, but taller. Her skin shimmered like silver, her eyes glowing with deep sorrow. She wore a crown of light, but her shoulders carried the weight of loneliness. She turned her head slowly, her gaze falling upon the human traveler. For the first time in many months, he felt small, weak. The little girl ran to her and hugged her leg. "Mom, see, he came. He will be Dad." For birthday. The queen's eyes never left the traveler. Her expression was unreadable, half sorrow, half hope. She stepped forward. Her voice was soft but carried the weight of command. "So, the human accepts the invitation." The traveler's throat went dry. He tried to speak, but no words came. The queen took another step closer. Her eyes glowed brighter, locking onto his. "Then stay. Be what my daughter asks, if you dare." The hall grew silent. The traveler realized he had stepped into something far greater than a simple birthday party. something ancient, something dangerous, and somewhere deep inside he felt he might never leave this place the same again. The great hall was filled with silence. The human traveler stood frozen at the entrance, unsure if he should step forward or run back into the night. His heart beat loudly in his chest, each thump echoing in his ears. The tall alien woman, the queen, watched him carefully. Her eyes glowed like cold stars, deep and endless. But behind that glow he saw something unexpected. Not anger, not hatred, but loneliness. Her voice was soft, yet powerful. "So, you are the one my daughter has chosen." The traveler shifted nervously. "I didn't choose this. She found me. She begged me." The little alien girl clung to her mother's hand, nodding quickly. "Mom, he is kind." He listened. He came. The queen bent down slightly, resting her hand on her daughter's head. Her lips curved into the faintest smile, but it disappeared quickly, replaced by a shadow of sorrow. "You don't understand, human," she said quietly. "We have been alone for too long. My daughter's heart longs for what she has never known, a father, a family." The traveler felt a chill run down his spine. "Why me? I'm just a man, a broken traveler with no home." The queen studied him for a long moment. "Because you are human. Your kind is different. I have seen many species across the stars. Stronger than you, smarter than you, richer in power. But none endure like humans. You survive. You protect. You carry love into places even where death waits." Her words cut deep. He wanted to deny them, but he couldn't. Every memory of Earth, every lost friend, every struggle echoed inside him. The little girl looked up at him with wide, hopeful eyes. "Please stay. Only for her birthday. Make her happy even for one night." The traveler sighed, his shoulders heavy. He nodded slowly. "All right. For tonight." The queen's gaze softened, but the silence that followed felt heavy, almost dangerous. She turned and gestured toward the great hall. "Come inside. Be our guest." The hall was decorated in strange glowing lights. Shards of crystal floated in the air, glowing softly like stars, forming a crown above the room. Long tables stood empty, as if waiting for guests who would never arrive. The queen led them to the center, where a single cake-like object rested on a silver stand. It glowed faintly, giving off warmth. The little girl clapped her hands with joy. "Birthday cake. For Mom." The traveler frowned. The cake didn't look like food. It pulsed alive, almost breathing. He wondered what would happen if anyone tried to eat it. The queen sat down slowly on a tall throne of stone and crystal. She looked at him again. "Tell me, human, do you believe in destiny?" The traveler hesitated. "Destiny? No, I believe in choices. I believe in survival, that's all." The queen's lips curved into a sad smile. "Survival, yes, that is what we have done." "For too long?" Her voice grew softer, almost breaking. "My people were once many. A great empire stretched across the stars. But war came. Fire, hunger, betrayal. They are gone now. Only I remain. Only she remains." She looked at her daughter with sorrow and love. The traveler listened in silence. The weight of her words pressed on his chest. He saw it in her eyes, the pain of losing a world, of carrying the ashes of a broken kingdom. The queen straightened, hiding her weakness. "Do you see now why she chose you? You are human, a survivor. Maybe you can teach her what I cannot." The traveler shook his head. "I can't be what she wants. I'm no father. I'm no savior." The queen's gaze hardened, though her eyes still carried sadness. "Perhaps not, but she believes in you. And sometimes, belief is more powerful than truth." The traveler felt uneasy. He looked around the hall again. The floating crystals glowed brighter, casting long shadows. For the first time he noticed tall figures standing in the corners. Silent, armored guards with spears of light. Their glowing eyes followed his every move. He whispered, "Your guards. They don't like me." The queen did not deny it. "They do not trust you. To them you are an intruder, a danger, a human. In the heart of their ruins." The traveler tensed. The little girl tugged his sleeve, whispering, "Don't worry. Mom protects you." The queen rose slowly from her throne. She stepped close, her tall figure casting a shadow over him. Her voice lowered, heavy with warning and mystery. "Listen carefully, human. Tonight is my birthday. My daughter's wish brought you here. But beyond these walls there are others who will not allow you to stay. They will test you. They will hunt you. If you remain, you will not leave unchanged." The traveler swallowed. His throat felt dry. He wanted to leave, to run back into the night, but something inside held him in place. The queen's hand brushed lightly against his shoulder. For a moment, the cold strength of her touch shocked him. Then she whispered, "Stay. Just for tonight. If you dare." The hall grew silent again. The crystals above flickered like fading stars. The little girl laughed and clapped, not sensing the heavy air. She hugged his leg tightly and said, "Dad, don't go. Stay. Be with us." The traveler looked at her. He saw innocence, hope, and a hunger for love. His chest tightened. And then he looked at the queen, lonely, proud, powerful, but broken by sorrow. Something told him this was not a simple birthday. Something deeper waited. Something dangerous. And as the shadows of the guards shifted in the corners, the traveler realized one truth. He was trapped in a story far bigger than himself. The sun rose slowly over the broken city. Its pale light spread across shattered towers and ruined bridges, casting long shadows across the empty streets. The traveler walked behind the little alien girl, his boots crunching against the stone. He had agreed to stay one night. But now, as the alien dawn lit the ruins, he felt something pulling him further in. The queen had left him in the child's care. She sat silent on her throne as if carrying the weight of centuries. Her eyes had told him one thing: watch, and you will learn. So he followed the little girl. The streets of the city were filled with strange carvings. Tall walls showed images of tall warriors with glowing crowns holding weapons of light. But many of the carvings were broken, smashed by some old war. The girl pointed to one wall. "This was my people. Before strong, many, now gone." Her small voice trembled, though she tried to smile. "Only me, only Mom." The traveler felt a heavy ache in his chest. He had seen ruins before on many planets, but this one felt different. Too quiet, too forgotten. As they walked, he noticed something strange: symbols on the walls. At first, he thought they were alien letters, but then he froze. They were human letters, carved deep into the stone, faded but still clear. EN42, a code, a mark, something from Earth's fleets. He touched the letters with his hand. This is human." The girl tilted her head. "Yes, long ago. Humans came. They fought here." The traveler's mind spun. Humans had been here before? Why, what happened? The girl pulled him along. "Come, I show you more." She led him into a broken hall deep underground. The air was colder, heavy with dust and silence. Old machines lay scattered, their parts glowing faintly with dead energy. In the center of the hall stood a broken weapon, long and black with strange silver veins running through it. The traveler's breath caught. He knew that shape. It was human-made. The girl placed her hand on it. "Mom says, this was from the ones before. They were strong, but also dangerous. My people feared them. But I don't. I like humans." The traveler bent closer. His fingers traced the edge of the weapon. It was scorched, cracked, but still humming faintly. He whispered, "This is a Terran rifle. Old model. How did it end up here?" The girl shrugged with childlike innocence. "Maybe destiny." He stared at her. She spoke the word with such ease. But he remembered the queen's warning. Destiny, survival, family, all tangled together. The air shifted suddenly. He felt eyes watching him. From the shadows of the broken hall, figures moved, tall armored guards. Their glowing spears lit the darkness. Their steps echoed as they surrounded him. The little girl gasped. "No, stop. He's friend." But the guards ignored her. Their voices were deep, angry. Humans should not touch sacred relic. Humans should not be here. The traveler tightened his grip on the broken weapon, though it was useless. He stepped back, his heart pounding. One guard pointed his spear at him. "Leave, or die." The girl ran in front of him, spreading her arms. "No, he stays. I choose him." The guards hesitated. Their eyes flickered with unease. But one muttered darkly, "The queen is blinded by sorrow. The child is blinded by hope. Humans bring only ruin." The traveler's jaw clenched. He had heard words like these before on other worlds. Words of hatred, fear, mistrust. He raised his hand slowly. "I don't want trouble. I didn't come here by choice. But if you force me to fight," he stopped. The weapon in his hands pulsed. A faint blue light flickered along its surface as if awakening. The guard stepped back slightly. Their eyes widened. The little girl whispered almost in awe, "It knows you." The traveler stared at the weapon. It was human technology, but now it pulsed with alien energy as if the ruins themselves fed into it. The guards lowered their spears slowly, muttering in fear. The weapon, it responds, just like before. Then, one by one, they stepped back into the shadows and disappeared, leaving only silence behind. The traveler's hands shook as he lowered the weapon. His breath was uneven. The girl smiled brightly. "See? You are meant to be here." But the traveler didn't feel joy. He felt dread. As they left the hall, he looked again at the ruined city. Symbols of humans and aliens carved together side by side. Old machines humming faintly in the dark. Weapons waiting in silence, he turned to the girl. "Tell me what happened here. What happened between humans and your people?" Her eyes grew sad. She shook her head. "I don't know all. Mom says humans came. Some helped. Some destroyed. Then war came. Everything broke." The traveler felt his throat tighten. Pieces of history lost to Earth. And now he had stumbled right into the heart of it. The girl tugged his hand again, smiling faintly. "Don't be sad. You're here now. You can change it." He didn't answer. His eyes stayed on the broken weapon in his hand, still glowing softly. And far away on her throne, the queen sat with closed eyes. She whispered into the silence of her hall, "He has found it. The past is awake again." Her voice was heavy with fear and hope. The ruined city slept under the pale alien moon. The traveler lay inside a quiet chamber, its broken walls covered with vines that glowed faintly in the dark. The little girl had fallen asleep nearby, curled up in a blanket, her soft breath steady and peaceful. But the human could not sleep. His mind was restless. The strange weapon he had found still lingered in his thoughts. It had recognized him. It had pulsed with life in his hands as if waiting for him. Why? He stared at the ceiling, shadows shifting in the pale light. He thought about the queen, her sorrowful eyes, her strange words about humans and destiny. He thought about the guards, their hatred, their warning, and then he heard it, a sound. Soft. Too soft. The faint scrape of footsteps outside the chamber. The traveler sat up instantly. His hand reached for the broken weapon lying beside him. Its faint blue glow flickered alive as if it too sensed danger. The girl stirred in her sleep, mumbling softly. He placed a finger to his lips, though she wasn't awake. "Quiet. Stay quiet." The sound grew closer. A shadow passed across the ruined doorway. Then another, the traveler's muscles tensed. He rose slowly, holding the weapon tightly. And then, movement. Figures slipped into the chamber, their bodies covered in dark armor, their faces hidden by masks that glowed with red light. Silent assassins. The first raised a blade that shimmered with deadly energy. The traveler barely dodged as it slashed down. Sparks flew against the stone floor. The little girl screamed, startled awake. "Dad!" The traveler's heart pounded. He raised the weapon and swung it like a staff. It hummed, energy sparking. The assassin stumbled back, surprised. But there were more. Shadows filled the chamber, circling him. The traveler gritted his teeth. He was outnumbered, outmatched. He couldn't win. Not like this, one assassin lunged. The traveler blocked, but the force sent him crashing into the wall. His chest ached. He could barely breathe. The little girl cried out, "Help! Mom!" The assassins turned toward her. Their red eyes glowed brighter. "No!" The traveler roared, throwing himself between them and the child. He swung the weapon wildly, sparks flashing in the darkness. But one assassin knocked him down. A blade pressed against his throat. This was it, and then light exploded. The queen appeared. She swept into the chamber, her tall form glowing with raw power. Her eyes burned with silver fire. With a single motion of her hand, energy surged across the room. The assassins were thrown back, crashing into the walls. The traveler gasped for air, staring up at her in shock. The queen raised her other hand. Spears of light formed in the air and struck the assassins before they could rise. They screamed, their bodies dissolving into dust and shadow. Silence followed. The little girl ran to her mother, hugging her tightly. Tears streamed down her small face. "Mom, they tried to take him. They tried to hurt him." The queen knelt, holding her daughter close. Her eyes softened for a moment, then turned hard as stone. She looked at the traveler. "You see now," she whispered, her voice trembling with both anger and sorrow. "They will not allow you to remain. You are a threat to them. To everything." The traveler struggled to his feet, chest still burning with pain. He clenched the weapon tightly. His voice was rough. "Who were they?" The queen's gaze darkened. "Exiles, loyal to the old ways. They believe no human should ever walk here again. To them, you are the beginning of another war." The traveler's jaw tightened. "Then why bring me here? Why let your daughter pull me into this?" The queen's expression broke, sorrow spilling through her calm mask. She looked at her daughter, who clung tightly to her robe, still shaking with fear. "Because she is lonely," the queen whispered. "Because I am lonely. Because we needed hope, even if it was dangerous." Her words cut into him like a blade. He looked at the girl, her small hands gripping her mother. Her eyes were wide, full of fear, but still clinging to him with trust. "Don't leave," she whispered softly. "Please, Dad. Don't leave me." The traveler's heart twisted. He had never been called that before, not by a real child. The word felt heavy, strange, but powerful. He knelt down, resting a hand on her shoulder. "I'm here. I won't let them hurt you." The queen's eyes shimmered. For a moment she looked not like a ruler, but like a woman broken by loss. But then her face hardened again. "This is only the beginning. They will come again, and worse will follow." Her voice lowered, heavy with fear. "The warlord has heard of you. He is coming." The chamber grew colder. The traveler's blood ran cold at her words. "Warlord?" The queen nodded slowly. "The one who destroyed my people. The one who wants what remains. He will not allow a human to stand at my side. He will kill you, and he will take us." The silence that followed was unbearable. The traveler looked at the girl. Her small hands shook, her eyes filled with tears. And in that moment he knew something had changed. He wasn't just a traveler anymore. He wasn't just a survivor. He had become something more. A protector. The ruins shook. Far away, deep in the broken valley, horns of war echoed. The sound rolled through the stone towers and hollow streets like thunder. Every echo carried fear. The traveler stood at the queen's side, weapon in hand. The little girl clung to his arm, trembling. The queen's voice was low, almost a growl. "He has come." The traveler's chest tightened. "The warlord?" She nodded once. "The one who ended my people. The one who wants me as his prize. He never forgives. He never stops." The traveler swallowed hard, staring into the distance. He had faced bandits, mercenaries, even alien beasts. But the way her voice shook, the way the ground trembled, this enemy was different. From the shadows of the valley, an army appeared. Tall warriors in black armor marched in silence, their spears glowing red. Behind them came a massive beast dragging chains, its breath steaming like fire. And in the center, riding a throne carried by soldiers, sat the warlord. He was taller than any being the traveler had seen. His armor glowed with shifting red patterns, alive like fire. His mask was shaped like a skull, and his voice rolled through the air like a storm. "Queen," he boomed, his tone dripping with mockery. "Still hiding among ruins? Still clinging to ghosts?" The queen stood tall, her silver eyes blazing. She did not bow. "This is not your place, warlord. Leave." The warlord's laughter shook the valley. "Leave? Why would I leave when everything I want is here? You the child, and now." His eyes turned to the traveler, narrowing. A human. The traveler felt every gaze fall on him. The warlord's voice grew sharper. "How pathetic. A broken man pretending to be father. Do you think you can protect them?" The little girl hid behind the traveler, whispering, "Don't listen to him. You are strong. Stronger than him." The warlord leaned forward, his mask glowing. "Do you know what humans are to me? Nothing. Shadows. Frail creatures who die screaming. Your kind once stood against me. They burned. They begged. And they failed." The traveler's grip on the weapon tightened. His voice was rough but steady. "And maybe they failed before, but I'm not them." The warlord laughed again, but his laughter carried rage. Bold words for a dying man. He rose from his throne and stepped down. Each step shook the ground. His army fell silent, their red spears glowing brighter. The queen's hand brushed against the traveler's arm. Her voice was low. "Be careful. He does not only fight with weapons. He fights with fear." The warlord raised a hand, pointing at the traveler. I give you one chance, walk away. Leave the queen, leave the child. Leave this place. Run back to the stars where you belong. If you stay, I will break you. The traveler looked down at the little girl. Her small eyes were wide, filled with tears. She shook her head desperately. Don't leave. Please, Dad, please. Her words hit him harder than any weapon. He looked up at the warlord. His voice was steady. I don't run. The warlord's mask flared with crimson light. He spread his arms wide. Then prove yourself, fight me. Stand against my power. Show this broken queen what a human can do, or die like the rest of your kind. The queen stepped forward, her silver light glowing fiercely. You will not take him. You will not take us. The warlord tilted his head. You protect him, why? He is nothing. The queen's voice cut through the air. Because he is human. And humans are never nothing. The warlord's laughter turned into a growl. Then I will crush both of you. And your daughter will watch as everything she loves burns. The little girl gasped, clinging tighter to the traveler. Don't let him take us, please. Fight. The traveler's heart pounded. The weapon in his hands pulsed again, brighter this time, as if answering the child's plea. He raised it, pointing it toward the warlord. If it's me you want, then I'll fight. But I won't run, not now, not ever. The silence that followed was heavy, almost sacred. The warlord's army shifted uneasily. The queen's guards appeared on the walls, ready but afraid. The child stood between them, her small hands clutching the human's arm as if anchoring him to destiny. The warlord's voice lowered, deep and deadly. Then tomorrow at dawn we fight. Human against warlord. If you fall, the queen is mine. The child is mine. And your kind will be forgotten forever. The traveler stared back, his voice like iron. And if I stand? The warlord's mask flared crimson. Then I will finally see if the legends of humans are true, or just another lie buried in the ruins. He turned, his army following him like a wave of shadows. The valley grew silent once more, but the air was heavy with coming war. The queen touched the traveler's shoulder. Her eyes shimmered with fear and hope. You should not have accepted. He is stronger than you can imagine. The traveler looked at her, then at the child, who still clung to him. Maybe, but I won't abandon you. I won't abandon her, the queen whispered almost to herself. Humans, always choosing the impossible. The traveler looked at the horizon where the first light of dawn would soon rise. His hand shook slightly, but his heart was firm. Tomorrow he would face the warlord, and tomorrow the galaxy would learn what it meant for a human to fight for family. Dawn broke over the ruined city. The pale sun rose slowly, painting the sky in red and gold, but there was no peace in its light. The valley shook with the sound of war drums. The warlord had come. The traveler stood on the broken steps of the Queen's Hall, weapon in hand. His palms were damp, his chest heavy with fear. Yet his eyes were steady. The little girl stood near him, clutching her mother's robe. Her small face was pale, her eyes wide. Dad, please come back. Don't leave us. The queen placed a hand on the child's shoulder. She looked at the traveler with silver eyes that carried both sorrow and pride. If you fight him, you may not live. But if you run, we will all be lost. The traveler nodded slowly. His voice was low but firm. Then I fight. The warlord's army filled the valley. Thousands of soldiers in black armor stood in rows, their spears glowing red. At their front, the warlord stepped forward, towering like a mountain. His mask burned with crimson light, his voice echoing like thunder. Human, he roared. Today your kind dies again. Stand so I may crush you. The traveler raised the glowing weapon. Its blue light pulsed brighter than before, as if it shared his heartbeat. I'm not here to die. I'm here to protect them. The warlord laughed, a deep rumbling sound that shook the earth. Then he charged. The ground cracked under his steps. His blade, long and burning red, came down like fire. The traveler rolled aside, the strike smashing the stone where he had stood. Dust and sparks filled the air. The traveler swung his weapon. It clashed against the warlord's blade, sending out a shockwave that shook the ruins. The force threw him back, but he held his ground. The little girl screamed, "Dad, don't give up!" Her voice struck him like lightning. He stood again, his chest heaving, and faced the giant. The warlord swung again, faster this time. The traveler blocked, sparks flying. Each strike rattled his bones. His arms ached. His legs trembled. But he did not fall. The queen raised her hands, silver light rising around the walls, shielding her daughter. But her eyes stayed on the battle. She whispered, "Endure, human. Endure." The warlord's power was overwhelming. Every strike was like thunder, every step like an earthquake. The traveler stumbled, barely keeping his balance. The warlord sneered. "You are weak. Just a man. You cannot stand against me." But the traveler growled through clenched teeth. "I don't need to be stronger. I just need to stand long enough." He swung the weapon again. This time the blue energy surged brighter, flowing through him. The warlord staggered, surprised for the first time. The traveler pressed on, striking again and again, forcing the giant back a step. Hope flickered in his chest, but the warlord roared furious. His mask blazed crimson. With one crushing blow, he struck the traveler down. The weapon clattered to the stone. The human fell to his knees, blood on his lips. The warlord raised his blade for the final strike. "Die, human, and let your false courage die with you." "No!" The little girl screamed. She ran forward, but the queen pulled her back. Tears streamed down her face as she cried, "Please don't take him. Don't take my dad." Her voice pierced the air. The traveler heard it through the haze of pain. Something inside him lit on fire. He forced himself up, his body screaming in protest. His hand closed around the weapon again. Its blue light exploded, brighter than the sun. The warlord's eyes widened. "Impossible!" The traveler roared, charging forward with everything left in him. He swung the weapon, and the blue light clashed against the warlord's crimson blade. The ground cracked. The ruins shook. For a moment, the entire valley blazed with light, and then silence. The traveler stood, swaying on his feet. The warlord staggered back, his armor cracked, his mask fractured. But he was not finished. His rage burned hotter than ever. "You will break," he roared, charging again. The traveler knew he had nothing left. His body was broken. His strength was gone. But he stepped forward anyway. He raised the weapon high, not to strike, but to shield the queen and the child behind him. If he had to fall, he would fall protecting them. The warlord's blade came down. But before it struck, silver light surged beside him. The queen joined the fight, her hands blazing with power. Together, human and alien, they met the warlord's strike. The clash shook the valley, a storm of blue and silver against crimson fire. The warlord roared, straining against them, but for the first time he faltered. The little girl cried out from behind the shield. "Fight together! Don't give up!" Her voice became the spark. The traveler and the queen pushed as one, their lights merging, blazing brighter than the dawn. With a final cry, they struck the warlord back. His blade shattered, his armor cracked. He stumbled, roaring in fury and pain. The traveler collapsed to his knees, barely conscious. The queen caught him before he fell completely. The warlord staggered away, his army pulling him back. His voice echoed in rage. "This is not the end. I will return, and when I do, all will burn." The army retreated into the shadows, leaving silence in their wake. The queen knelt beside the traveler. Her hands glowed, pouring silver light into his wounds. Her voice trembled. "You should be dead. But you fought for us, for her." The little girl threw her arms around him, sobbing. "You're my dad. You're my hero." The traveler closed his eyes, his voice weak but steady. "I'm not a hero. I'm just human, and I'll never stop fighting for family." The queen looked at him, her eyes shining with something new, hope. And for the first time in many centuries, she believed in tomorrow. The valley was silent after the battle. The ruins still smoked where the warlord's blade had struck, and cracks split the stone like scars. But the warlord was gone. His army had vanished into the shadows, leaving only the sound of the wind. The traveler lay weak in the queen's arms. His breaths came slow and heavy, but his eyes remained open. He had not fallen. The little girl pressed against his side, her small hands clutching his arm. Tears ran down her cheeks, but her voice was full of relief. "You didn't leave me. You stayed." The traveler gave her a faint smile, though pain lined his face. "Told you. I don't run." The queen's hands glowed softly, pouring silver light into his wounds. Slowly his strength returned, not enough to stand, but enough to keep breathing. She looked down at him, her voice quiet and filled with emotion. "You should be dead," she whispered. "No one has ever stood against him and lived. But you did. Not because you are stronger, not because you are faster, but because you are human." The traveler's tired eyes met hers. "Humans don't win because we're the best. We win because we don't stop, even when it hurts, even when we're broken." The queen's lips trembled, her eyes shimmering with tears she had not shed in centuries. She leaned closer, her voice shaking. "Then perhaps you are what we needed all along." The queen guided him back into the great hall. The girl stayed close, refusing to let go of his hand. The floating crystals above glowed brighter, as if the ruins themselves recognized his survival. The hall was still decorated with faint lights from the Queen's birthday celebration, though no guests had ever come. The child suddenly pointed at the glowing cake-like object at the center. "Mom, we forgot birthday cake." For a moment, the Queen blinked in surprise. Then, for the first time in years, she laughed. A soft, trembling laugh that filled the silent hall. The traveler raised an eyebrow. "You laugh?" The Queen's eyes softened. "Not for a long time. Not since before the warlord. But tonight, yes." The little girl pulled both of them toward the glowing cake. She clapped her hands. "We can still have a party. Just us three. A family party." The traveler froze at the word family. His chest tightened. He had lost his family long ago. He had traveled alone, carrying only memories, but now, the child's small smile, the Queen's tearful eyes, they pulled something out of him he thought was gone. He nodded slowly. "All right, a family party." They sat together in the broken hall. The Queen placed her hand above the glowing cake and it split open, releasing a sweet, warm fragrance. The little girl laughed with joy, taking a small piece and offering it first to the traveler. "For Dad." He hesitated, but her eyes sparkled with hope. He took the piece and ate. It melted on his tongue, warm and strange, like tasting light itself. For a moment, he forgot the pain. He forgot the war. He felt at home. The Queen broke a piece for herself. She looked at the traveler, her voice soft. "This is the first time in centuries I have not eaten alone." The traveler nodded slowly. "Then it's the first of many." The girl cheered, hugging both of them tightly. But peace never lasts long. As the night grew quiet, the Queen looked at the traveler with serious eyes. "The warlord is not gone. He will return. Stronger. Angrier. He will not stop until he owns this world and us." The traveler's jaw tightened. He glanced at the weapon lying beside him, its faint blue glow still alive. "Then we'll be ready." The Queen tilted her head. "You say we now?" He met her gaze. "Yes, because I'm not alone anymore. Not if you'll have me." The Queen's breath caught. Her eyes softened, and for the first time hope truly shone within them. "Then you are no longer a guest. You are part of us." The little girl grinned brightly, her voice echoing in the hall. "See, Mom? I told you. He's Dad now." The traveler chuckled weakly, shaking his head. "Guess I don't get a choice." The Queen's lips curved into a soft smile. "No, not anymore." That night, as the ruins glowed under the alien stars, something new was born. Not just survival. Not just a fragile peace. A family. The traveler lay beside the glowing weapon, his hand resting on the child's shoulder as she slept. The Queen stood near the balcony, her silver eyes watching the horizon. She whispered into the wind, a promise only the stars could hear. "We will not be broken again, not while he stands with us." Far beyond the valley, in the shadows of space, the warlord's broken mask glowed crimson. His laughter echoed through the void. "This is not the end, human. Family will not save you when I return." But in the ruins, under the stars, the human slept in peace for the first time in years, because for the first time, he had something to protect, something worth fighting for, a daughter, a queen, a family, and somewhere deep in the ruins, the ancient weapon pulsed once more, whispering of battles yet to come.